Economics is a science. As with other sciences, it involves a systematic attempt to discover regular patterns of behavior. These behavior patterns are used to explain what is happening, predict what might happen, as well as assist with economic policy making. For example, we look at interest rate. Economics tries to explain the changes in the rate of interest, predict its future trend, as well as assist the Monetary Policy Committee on how to set it so that they can achieve the inflation target of 3 to 6%. Therefore, the emphasis is on explanation, prediction, and policy making. As economics is a science subject, it is a social science, hence it should not be confused to the natural sciences like physics, chemistry, and others. On most economic decisions, economists are notorious for their tendency to differ. However, these differences are explained by: firstly, difference in value judgment. Most economic issues involve value judgment as they deal mostly with people's behavior, beliefs, and ambitions. Therefore, they can agree on facts but differ on views about what ought to be. Secondly, there can be differences on actual facts. Uncertainty surrounds most of economic variables measurement processes. Thus, as a result of uncertainty, the validity of the facts will be questionable at times. They might be biased. Economists are human beings with specific preferences, hence they can at times report biased or less objective information just to protect their special interest. Fourthly, they might hold different views on the operation of the economy. Many issues in economics are complex, especially at the macroeconomic level. Therefore, there are always differences on how specific parts of the economic system fit together or the speed at which a variable will influence a specific variable. Fifthly, they might have different time perspectives. Some economists may be more concerned with short-term prospects, while others are concerned more about long-term prospects. Lastly, due to global changes and the development of new knowledge, there will definitely be new answers to the same fundamental questions, and other economists will adopt new views, but then others might still decide to hold the old view. Thus, differences will always occur in explaining how the economic system works as a result of different schools of thought that one subscribes to. Now that we have a better understanding of the various factors of production, let's go ahead and focus on how then these resources are combined to produce the final output and how does these processes interrelate. To address our first question, we have to acknowledge that there are three central economic questions that needs to be answered by any society. These are: firstly, what goods and services are we going to produce and in what quantities? These are known as output questions. Secondly, how will each of these goods and services be produced? How many scarce resources will be required? These are known as input questions. For whom will the different goods and services be produced? How much of them will receive the products? These are known as distribution questions. There are basically three essential coordinating mechanisms that are used or can help us in answering the three questions, namely traditional, command, and market system. A system is defined as a network of parts which interlock to form an overall pattern. The above mentioned three systems together with property rights form the basic of most important economic systems. Our focus will be on four economic systems, namely traditional, command, market, and the mixed system. However, we will emphasize more on the market and the mixed system since they are mostly applied in most economies to date. There is virtually no two economies with identical solutions to the three questions. However, there are certain common features that can be used to classify an economic system. The two main basic features are property rights, and coordinating mechanism. Property rights refers to the right to possess, use, or dispose of tangible assets and intangible assets, as well as the right to all or part of the income generated by those assets. Property can be owned publicly or privately, as in the case of socialist and capitalist economies, respectively. Coordinating mechanisms refers to the means of providing and transmitting information so as to coordinate the economic activities of the great number of participants in an economy. An economic system refers to a pattern of organization which is aimed at solving the three central questions. In a traditional economic system, the same goods and services are produced and distributed in the same way by each successive generation according to the prescribed customs. In short, people apply the same techniques of production as their parents did, and the distribution channels are long established by tradition. Nowadays, purely traditional systems are not as common as they used to be, but that does not mean it's no longer an important mechanism. This is because some of our economic behavior aspects are still governed by tradition, but with more freedom of choice on important decisions. In a command system, the participants are instructed what to produce and how to produce it by a central authority. The central authority also determines how the output is distributed. Therefore, command systems are also called centrally planned systems. Nowadays, there are a few centrally planned or command systems, with North Korea being the best example of a country that is best described by central planning. It is also important to note that in most economies, some elements of command systems are applied, that is through the intervention of the government in the market, where government activities are planned and coordinated by some central body or bodies or politicians. In a market system, individual decisions and preferences are communicated and coordinated through the market mechanisms. The most crucial element of the market mechanisms are market prices. Market prices are signals of scarcity that shows consumers what they need to sacrifice to obtain the good or service, and also to the owners of the various factors of production how they can utilize their resources efficiently to earn a decent profit. Our focus is mainly on market capitalism, but also know that there are market socialist economies. In a market capitalist system, the factors of production are privately owned. More so, it is characterized by individualism, private freedom, private property, property rights, decentralized decision making, and limited government intervention. In market capitalist system, economic activities are driven by self-interest. Adam Smith, the father of capitalist market system, explained the market capitalist system as a market mechanism that works like there is an invisible hand available to coordinate the self-interest actions of people to ensure that everyone is better off. Therefore, in a capitalist market system, every agent pursues their self-interest by responding to pecuniary or monetary incentives. Competition is therefore an important feature of this system as it brings order in the systems. However, competition is not always fair, hence most markets in the world are characterized by imperfect competition. Apart from the number of serious defects that a pure capitalist market system has, it is still a wonderful system that operates smoothly on its own, coordinating millions of decisions through the market mechanisms. Therefore, the three questions are answered by market prices, which are signaling indicators that directs and controls economic activities. In a mixed economy, the economic system is composed of a mixture of traditional system, central planned system, and a market system. Most economic systems are best described as mixed systems. However, one of the three systems usually dominates. There is considerable debate about which is the appropriate mix to have. However, the best mix is dependent on the perceived problem of the society concerned, and it is likely to change over time. The South African economy is an example of a mixed economy in which both the market system and the central planned system plays a significant role, whilst the traditional system also plays a role, but its role is relatively small.